Okay, this is lesson 5, and this lesson is called Living What You Believe. And this lesson is amazing. This is a lesson about alignment. Are we actually living what we believe? Many cases we're not. We think we are, but we are not taking inventory of our actions, of our consciousness, of our character. And if we take inventory of these things, often we'll see what we think of ourselves and what we do are a lot different. I mean, other people can see it, but we don't see it because we only see our motives. So if our motives are to do good, even if we don't do good, we actually think we're doing good. Isn't that amazing? I'll say that again. If my motive is to do something good, if I think of myself as a good person, and then I do something which isn't so good, I won't notice it because I think of myself as a good person. So I could be out of alignment and not even notice it and not even know it. So this lesson, we're going to try to become more aware of how we're out of alignment. I think most of you, if not all of you, who are taking this course believe in karma. We believe in what goes around comes around, but still we blame others for our karma. Now, I teach my forgiveness course mostly to people who believe in karma. And in the beginning of the course, I asked them, do you believe in karma? And 99.99% of the time, everyone, 100% of the people raised their hand. And then I asked them a funny question. I said, well, if you believe in karma, why are you here in a forgiveness course? Because if you believe what goes around comes around, that what's ever coming around is something you created and something you deserve. And if you understood that, you wouldn't have a resentment issue because there would be nobody to forgive. Just like in this picture, he's knocking the dominoes down. And he realizes, if he's smart, or very soon he's going to realize, when the last domino knocks him down, he was the cause of the problem. So if you believe in karma and you have resentment issues, that's a misalignment. Because if what goes around comes around, why would you resent anything anybody did? Because ultimately, whatever is coming back to you is something that you caused at some point in time, either in this life or in a previous life. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, that's my joke to people. But I think it's valid. I think it's important. What we find is many people believe in spiritual principles, but in practice, they don't follow. I've been practicing spiritual life and teaching spiritual life for 47 years. So I have a lot of experience in this, both personally and in the people that I teach. And I ask people to do exercises to evaluate their lives in terms of whether or not they're living what they believe. And many people, even though on a spiritual path, by doing these kinds of exercises, realize there's many things that they believe in that they actually don't do. They believe in being green. They believe in this, being kind. They believe in being kind to animals. They believe in this and that. And when they analyze their life, they see, actually, I'm not that green, and I'm actually not that kind, and I'm actually still eating fish. So I love fish. Oh, you love fish? Let me see that. All right, you love fish. So you love fish, that means you eat them. So they reflect on things like this. I love fish and I eat fish. No, you don't love fish if you eat fish. If you don't eat fish, you love fish. Right? So they reflect on these things. So that's the idea. That's what we're going to. So let's see some paradoxes of how we're out of alignment. We want to lose weight, but we don't want to exercise. Yeah. Yeah, I want to lose weight, yeah. Everyone who's overweight wants to lose weight. That's a no-brainer. If you're overweight, you want to lose weight. But not everyone wants to exercise. I want to be spiritual, but we don't want to always act spiritually. You want to be spiritual? Oh yeah, I want to be spiritual. But we don't act spiritually. Now, you could go buy a purple Om shirt, but that doesn't make you spiritual. It might help, but that in itself doesn't make you spiritual. You actually have to act spiritually. Spirituality means detachment from material things. Spirituality doesn't mean obsessively shopping for things you don't need. Spirituality means detachment. Spirituality means compassion. You're willing to give up things you want to help others. Spirituality means selflessness. Spirituality means kindness to all living beings. So it's one thing to think I'm spiritual, and much more difficult to act spiritually. So, I may want to be spiritual, but I may not really be ready to make the sacrifice. And I'm sure you've seen this. There's a lot of spiritual people who are not really spiritual. Myself included, I'm guilty of this. I think we're all guilty of this. Some people are better at looking spiritual and not being spiritual than others. That's a fact. We want to save the earth, yet we pollute it. You know, all the stuff we buy that we don't need is polluting the earth. Did you know that even right now, if you're driving a gasoline engine car and you decide to sell that and buy a Prius or buy an electric car, there's more pollution going on making that car than if you just kept your old car. I have a very old van, and my daughter says, "This van is so old. Why don't you sell it?" I say, "No, this is my eco car. It's got 285,000 miles on it. It's my eco car. The longer I drive it, the more I'm saving the environment because I don't have to buy another car." That van is 22 years old. Pretty cool, huh? Everyone looks at me and think, "Loser, 22-year-old van." I think, no, I'm winner. You know, I'm detached. I'm saving the environment. I don't need a new van so you think I'm special and rich and whatever. I just like this van because it still runs. So we pollute the environment. It's just, we're all doing it unnecessarily. But we don't realize it. We don't realize it. You know, how many plastic water bottles are there? You know, do you drink water out of plastic bottles? Well, if you do, you're polluting the environment. If you do, go get a copper water bottle, because water sitting in copper for 6 to 8 hours, no bacteria can infest it. And it's really healthy for digestion. It's really healthy for inflammation, for the heart. I drink copper water every morning. I don't drink out of plastic bottles. It's not good. Okay, this next slide is about the Amish people. Amish people are a group of people who live off the land. They're a Christian group. They've been in America since practically the beginning of America. Self-sufficient, very religious. A crazy man, came to their school, pulled out a gun, told all the boys, leave. And left were 10 girls, and he shot 10 girls. 6 of them died. That evening, 3 of the parents of those 6 girls went to the wife of the man who shot those girls. That man shot himself also. And they said, "We forgive you." And they said, "Not only do we forgive you, but you can live in our community and we'll take care of you." Amazing. Amazing. Shortly thereafter, in the Washington Cathedral, in the United States of America, in Washington, D.C., a pastor, or whatever they call him, the head of the cathedral, gave a talk about this amazing act of the Amish people. And this is what he said. They had been preparing for that act of forgiveness for a lifetime. It wasn't a decision, it was who they had become. It wasn't a decision, it was who they had become. So in other words, what he's saying is they were aligned 100% with their belief in forgiveness, because forgiveness is a Christian belief. Actually, it's a belief of any religion. But I know in some religions, if that happened, they wouldn't so easily give forgiveness. They might want to talk about it. What should we do? Does this family deserve forgiveness? Would it be the right thing? And so forth. But with the Amish people, because they lived it, it's what they believed, it wasn't a decision. Because when you believe something, you don't decide, you just do it. Just like if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to contemplate whether I should eat a Big Mac or not. You just don't do it because that's who you are. It's not a decision. Let me decide, should I eat a Big Mac or not? No, if you're actually a vegetarian, 100% through and through, you just don't do it. You don't decide not to do it. It's just you don't do it. So the same way, these people are forgiving. And that's just the kind of people they are. They're forgiving people. So that's why they could do it. Isn't that amazing? And isn't that such a good example of not deciding to do something, but doing it because that's who you are? And then as he said here, they were prepared their whole life to do this because that's how they lived. So it wasn't a decision. That's who they are as people. Very nicely said. I really appreciate that. So we have an exercise for you, a little homework, and this is called Reflection, Spiritual Misalignment. Write down your values, then write down in what ways you think you're out of alignment with your values, and in what way is your resentment causing you to be misaligned with your values, with these values. So in other words, what are your values? Are your values compassion, kindness, empathy, sympathy, integrity, whatever it is? And then think about in what ways in my life am I out of alignment with those values? And then look at your values and look at resentment, what resentment stands for, and look at the values that resentment causes you to be out of alignment with. Now, whenever you're out of alignment, you always feel something is wrong. You can't really be happy, you can't really be satisfied when you're out of alignment. Because when you're out of alignment, you're living in two worlds, and that's why we feel guilty. Guilt is just a sign, a signal to us from God, from the universe, that we just did something that we don't believe in our heart we should have done. It's an out of alignment realization. So whenever we're out of alignment, we can't feel happy. We can't feel satisfied. We can't feel authentic. We can't feel grounded and balanced. So this exercise is for you to discover how your resentment, in what ways is it out of alignment from the values that are important to you. So please do the exercise. This is your homework. It's very, very valuable. You'll get a lot of realizations. If you get realizations, feel free to journal your realizations. That just helps clarify them, helps them go deeper within you. And after you do this exercise, then go on to lesson 6.